All right, it was obviously a good weekend for us. The guys got some decent validation on some of the things they're working on, and to get another sweep this year was big, and it gets us to 7-5, which I think, maybe looking at the first 12 games of the year, we'd probably made that deal in the middle of the summer. So I think the guys have done a nice job. We jump back into the Big Ten now with Penn State, Notre Dame, and Michigan for our last 6 games, which will take us into the break, which will be a good challenge. And I think, something that we're looking at, outside of the results, and each week, and we talk in the locker room a lot about it. We talk about here is a process we're going through, and part of that, obviously, is trying to figure out a way to have some success against these better teams. And we've put ourselves in the first 4 games in the Big Ten. We're only 1-3. But I thought both games in Minnesota we played real well. Friday against Wisconsin at home was kind of a weird one. We got on the wrong side of it, and Saturday battled incredibly hard. So that's how we're going to have to play. We're going to have that kind of effort and that kind of dedication to get over the top in some of these Big Ten games. But we're real excited, looking forward to it. And Thanksgiving trip to Penn State, which is what probably every family looks forward to.
Danton, fans look at how many times the puck goes in the net, but I think people understand hockey knows that everything rises and falls on goalies. Are you, with no disrespect to your goalies, are you pleasantly surprised where you are 12 games in?
Yeah, that's been, that was one area that, with the same guys coming back, and you look at their numbers and you're going to say, well, if they duplicate the same numbers, we have no chance. You just, with that save percentage, that goals against, you're just not going to win hockey games very often, regardless of how big a firepower you have on the offensive side. So that had to get better, and that's all 6 guys. That's not just the goalie. We need to defend better. We need to contest the ice better. They need to stop pucks better. So looking at that coming in. Coach Exter and Coach Luongo and I kind of spent a lot of time beating around on that, and we thought that we had a pretty good situation and that they could get better. We do have a goalie coming in next year. We think it's going to be a very good goalie. So, those 2 situations, we decided, hey, let's not make a change and see like the rest of the team if we can improve that. And Joe's done, and Jason Mazzotti have done a lot of work with the guys. John's had a real good start to his sophomore year, and historically that's where his save percentage has been. Last year was a bit of an anomaly, but not for freshman goaltenders in the Big Ten and in college hockey these days. So he's done a nice job. He's kind of grabbed the reins right now. And Ed's got to do his work and push it, and he'll get his chance again. But right now John's been outstanding, and we've needed that.
Dan, when you got here in April, we knew that recruiting with the incoming freshman class would be a little bit interesting, to say the least. But Lewandowski just got named 2nd star of the week, and he's been an absolute standout. So I know that you expected a lot from your new guys, but how impressed have you been with his performance at this point? Yeah,
that'd be a lie to say. I think if you said all the freshmen coming in, if they had that many points, I'd be really happy. With just what Louis has. So. There obviously, we knew there was talent there, and I knew him from the last few years in the USHL and seeing him play. But to expect him to fit in as a freshman as well would be a lie. But he's done a great job. Again, I'll give him a ton of credit. I think some of the things he addressed over the summer, and I know the coaches from Chicago Steel where he played very well, and talked to him a lot about Louis over the summer. And he had some injuries over the past few years that kind of kept him out of the weight room in the summers and even through the fall last year. And he did a great job coming in here, working with Bork over the summer, and really putting in a lot of time. And when you get the hands and the vision and the hockey IQ that he has, along with some real good conditioning, and I think he tuned up his nutrition a little bit. He did the work away from the ice that is going to let his talent on the ice show through. And then he just fits in really well with Kodorenko and Hirose, and Mitch are just a really, really good line, and they see each other, they see the ice, and he's been really hot. I hope it continues, but I just hope he keeps playing the same way with the same energy, because even when they got 1 goal on Saturday night, their play was big, and the things that they do to distract the other team opens up ice in other areas. So that's probably as big of a mental hurdle they've got to get over. Understanding some nights they're not going to score, but they're going to take a lot away from the other team and make it easier for the other guys to score.
Dan, there's a lot of talk about the KHL line, but obviously in defense, Carson Gann has been on force. What's your assessment of his play thus far?
Yeah, he's been outstanding, and he finished real well last year, and going through the games, you know, and I think he was honorable mention Big Ten, and I think that was definitely warranted. And I think the second half of the year, he got some power play time, and you know, he was on that group with Rossi and Appleton, and I think some good things happened. So coming in, we knew we were going to have to rely on him a lot, and we weren't sure where Tommy Miller, we knew he was going to be good, but you know, this early, probably not that good, and just a lot of question marks. He, as a senior, was going to have to log a lot of ice, and he has. I mean, he plays in all situations for us. We have to double him back quite a bit. He's a hard-nosed player. He's putting up points, but I think it's more through kind of a meat and potatoes kind of thing. I mean, he moves the puck. He gets one on net the other night, was a huge goal for us. So he's just been great. He's been a leader. He's what you want out of your seniors. And a lot of times, college hockey, if you get, you know, you can see if you get 4 or 5 older guys that are playing and can kind of really lead the pack, then good things can happen. And you know, we only have the 3 seniors and 3 juniors, so any given night, there's not a lot of, you know, some nights we only have 3 of those guys in the lineup. So, but he's been great, you know, from leadership, ice time, and getting things done.
What's been your assessment of the overall defense, though?
I think it's been good. I think we defend pretty well. You know, we've had some games, you know, we gave up the 6 to Wisconsin, and you know, you can say, oh, the goalies were this or the defense was this, but just looking at the 12 games overall, we looked at it, if we could get our goals against under 3 this year. That's a big decrease. That's almost a full goal decrease. We wanted to try and get our scoring up to 3. You know, we've been able to, you know, somewhat get there. Now we've got, you know, a lot of heavy lifting left to do, but you know, if we can keep it down there, our scoring chances against have been good. And as our guys get more experience and understanding how to handle situations on the rush and you know, certain different things where we're going to continue to get better, it should get better and better. So, you know, goaltending and defense, they give you a chance.
Just sort of looking at the stats here on Penn State, they're number 1 in the country on shots on goal per game and number 2 in the country on goals. What makes them so dangerous, and to beat them, are you expecting to have to play in a shootout?
Yeah, well, the easy one is the second one is no, and I don't think we're not really built to get into shootouts. So, you know, that would be, you know, a bit of a fool's game. You don't play with somebody at what they're doing well, and you always try and take away what other teams do well. But you know, even you look at the series against Notre Dame, they had, I think they put up 44 and 35 shots. That's, you know, that's about 80 shots over 2 games against one of the best defensive teams in the country. So they do, that is their style. They put a lot of pucks on net, and they're not afraid to put pucks on net from outside the blue line, from in the corners. And, you know, it's a mentality. It's, you know, teams, you know, are always searching for an offensive identity. I don't think you have to look too far for what Penn State is, and what Guy does there is, you know, is really good for how they play. So we're going to have to deal with that, and there's certain ways that we can defend it, but you know, to say, hey, let's keep them under 30 shots is probably not right. I'd say, again, I'd look at more of the chances that are generated and how we react after that shot. We'll spend some time on that today. We'll have pucks flying from all over, and how we transition out of that, and hopefully we can handle that.
You mentioned at the beginning, you would have taken this in the summer. I think a lot of this that you would have signed up for. How are you surprised? Like, you seem a little bit pleasantly surprised. How surprised are you by this beginning?
Well, you know, I always go about things, and I'm pretty confident in what we're going to do. So, you know, my expectation, you know, if you ask me, you know, if we're sitting around on a Sunday afternoon, I'll tell you that I'm kind of ticked off. We're not 12-0, and I go through every game and say, well, if we'd done this probably could have won it. But, you know, that being said, and seeing where we're at, that yeah, this is a pretty good spot, and we've put ourselves in a situation now that. You know, if we can do some damage in the Big Ten, this could be a real interesting year. I still, the reality of it, I think, you know, is you know, we have to be aware of that it's not going to be easy, and there's still, as I said from my opening press conference, there's going to be some nights where there's some pain, and the patience still has to be there. You know, as much as we want to run through the process, you can't. And if you try and shortcut it, you just cheat yourself. So we've got some things to go through. We've got a lot of learning to do. But again, if we can keep getting better every game, every weekend, every week, we'll keep moving forward. And the biggest surprise for me has been the attitude and the mindset of this team. I mean, the boys have been outstanding. They've learned a lot more than I thought they would have. And that, that is, quite frankly, the whole staff, we've been shocked at the things we've been able to add on a Tuesday or Wednesday and see it show up in a game. And that's a pretty neat thing. And it's given us a little more confidence in them and a little more belief. And I think they've got the belief in us. So that's when it's fun. I was listening to Mark talk about, having fun and smiling at practice and enjoying it. And I can honestly tell you, this has been a blast. I would never, 7-5 for me, usually that's just a bit over 500, it's not good enough, but the way these guys have approached it has been inspiring, it's been a lot of fun.
Dan, you scored 20 goals twice in your career, 29 in your senior year, which today's standards would make you a Hobie Baker candidate. But not only, what do you have, Neil, 57, 59 one year?
59.
59. What I'm getting at is, what's your theory on the goal scoring? Is it goalie equipment? Is it guys with the cages now having more guts to block shots? Why are goals so drastically down over the last couple of years?
I think the biggest thing, and I guess looking through the teams I played for, and when I was in New Jersey and playing for Jacques Lemaire, that was the first, and I say first time, probably when I was cognizant of it. I think we did a bit at state, but first team that defended all 200 feet of the ice, and we were really taught to pressure, as soon as they had the puck, and Jock would say, our goal is to get the puck back before they get the goal line, before the top of the circle is the blue line. It used to be just back check and pick up the wide winger and guys would come down. Well, if you give guys, from your blue line or their blue line all the way to the top of your circles and just give them an easy 2-on-2 in a gap like that, they'd tear you apart now if there's no pressure. So I think the coaching, taking away the time and space, I think the better athletes we have, has just made it a lot harder, and you combine all those things. I think the equipment does make a bit of difference. The goalies, watch 1985, watch classic NHL video of the goalies, and you laugh at the small ground pads, and they're coming out 20 feet to block the same angle that a big goalie now can do at the top of the crease. So, and goalies used to stick the fat out of shape kid, and that was like the catcher in baseball, this Engelthorpe, stick him in there. Well, now they're our best. You look at John Gibson, he's our best athlete at the NTDP. He was the strongest guy, he was the fastest guy. We've got really good athletes in that. And then the equipment that the guys wear. And I still have my old show. I played a few years where we just sewed the shoulder pads onto your suspenders. You didn't even have the rest of it. All you had was basically this in your jersey. So that's changed quite a bit too. So teams defend. They defend as a unit, and it's hard to get pucks in.
And they do block a lot more shots now.
Oh, way more shots.
Because
Yeah,
of that.
absolutely. They're a lot more fearless. Al McInnes was lining up. You wouldn't see too many guys go down on one knee and stick their chest out, and that wasn't. They were ducking the other way. But so that's changed, and I think the mentality of it has changed as well.
I'm the fat out of shape kid they threw in the goalie. But two questions. First one is, talking to people around the program, one thing that they're mentioning about your guys is in the past they attack the weight room kind of like a basketball team. And this year, because of your influence, they're attacking it like a football team. What brought that sense of urgency from you that they needed to attack the weight room?
Yeah, I guess I know how football lifts. I don't know how basketball lifts. So I'm assuming just that's a main part of it. That's the intensity that we want to have in there is the same intensity that we want to have out on the ice. And the challenge that we presented to the guys is that we have to get a lot better there, and that we don't want to waste our time in there. We're going to continue to lift. We're going to continue to get stronger, and you got to get the guys to understand that when you work out like that, sometimes they look at it and I think they'll say, well, if we lift, then we're going to be tired, and then we won't be able to play as well. And it's really the mindset has to be the other way around. Is that I'm going to get stronger, I'm going to get fitter, I'm going to be able to play better, which means I'm going to be able to work out longer. And that's from the national team. When we were there and you look at the year over year from the first year to the second year. The first year there was a bit of a grind they had to get through. In the second year. I don't want to say it was a walk in the park because it was hard, but the guys kind of knew the rhythm and they knew what they had to do and they knew how they had to rest and rehydrate and nutrition afterwards and everything. And I think the college guys are older, and I think we established some of that over the summer, the guys that stayed here, and we just kept it up over the fall. We're still doing sprints off ice. We're still hitting the weights like we were. Coach Warkopek's done a great job, and we have to have that. Every little 1% advantage we can get, we have to have, and I think that's one that we can do here.
Last question for you. For those of us that have known you a long time, you're one of the best at keeping your life balanced, Danton. So I'm curious, what are you thankful for this Thanksgiving?
Well, I've got two of my daughters are home. I wish my other one could get back, but she's stuck working in Columbus, so she can't get back. But, my family, I think being back here has been great, not just, athletically and career-wise, but, my in-laws, most of them are still here in Lansing, my folks in Traverse City. My dad get down to a bunch of games and drags my mom down here with me. And, I think just at this time in my life, after playing long enough and coaching long enough, I think you want to have a career or lasting significance on things. I'm thankful that I'm in a situation here where I think I can do that. I think I can get things back here to what we want them to be. Everyone at Michigan State, but also just influencing the guys here. I'm thankful I have a chance to do that. And maybe not as great as I do with my daughters, but I always tell people I have 3 daughters, and I guess with college, 25 sons, and that's a pretty fantastic job to have, so I'm thankful I have that.
Coach, last year 7 wins all season, and this year already 7 wins. What's the attitude like in the locker room for the guys who were a part of that last year, and now they've already had as many wins as they did all last season?
Yeah, it's there's a good vibe in there. I think you always want, you look at your teams, you want a herd mentality or a brotherhood or a family kind of feel, and it's pretty good in the locker room right now. I think they've all hunkered down, and I guess that would be another way of bunker mentality. They kind of have that feeling. I tell you, Neil, you weren't on the bus, but coming back from Ferris was probably one of the more interesting rides back, but it was a good vibe. The lights were on the whole way. They sang the fight song about halfway back. I don't think we ever sang a fight song. Well, we sang it after games, but not on the bus ride home. That was pretty interesting. They had the mic out, and the guys were just having a good time. They were taking turns telling jokes and singing songs, and horribly singing songs, but it was fun nonetheless. So it was a really good atmosphere, and I think that's what it is kind of around there. I think everyone's bought in. Some guys aren't playing all the time. They haven't checked out, which can happen. They're pushing, and then they're getting back in, and they're doing a great job. So it's been a good. I like the vibe. I like where they're at, and it's always athletes they're prideful people. They last year was tough, and I think those guys set up as big a marker as they could that they wanted to get over that hump to do better this year, and we are where we are now, and hopefully we keep moving forward.
Hey Dan, just for the record, you were a catcher, right?
No, shortstop and
I thought
pitcher.
you were a catcher.
No. What are you gonna say?
Welcome to the Fat Kid Club.
All right, I guess I'm in the club. No.
You didn't catch a waiver?
Not really. I might have caught maybe my whole life, probably 3 or 4
My
games.
bad.
No.
Not for somebody who loves baseball.
Awesome. Thank you, Danton.
So, all right, good. Thanks, guys.